Writer Radio is a BKR Media production. All right, emergency Writer Radio podcast. Brad Writer, along with my co-host, 10-year-old Nate, my son. A couple things. One, the Bills won. Two, been meaning to do this for a little bit and finally did it tonight as the game ended. We've added a phone number, and it may allow for live calls at some point if we ever do a live pod or let you know that we're doing it. You know, we're going to record it 9 o'clock tonight, so if you want to call back. We might use it, but it's just an extra phone number that I've added for the purposes of the podcast. Here is the number, 716-288-5246, 288-5246. I put that out. I sent it to a couple of my friends. I put it on Twitter. I put it on Facebook after the game ended, half an hour before I was about to record with Nate, because it was not my intention to record today. But the Bills are going to the AFC Championship game, and Nate has gotten hooked on the podcast process and said to me today, you wanted to record regardless, and I said, what?
Only if the Bills win, then probably, but if they don't, then you don't know if you want to.
Yeah, that's what it was. If the Bills win, yes, we'll do it. If they don't win, I'm not sure that I'm ready to talk to the people. I'm ready to talk to the people because the Bills are going rightfully to the AFC Championship game for the first time in 5 years, and the second time in 30 years, or whatever it is, to finally, hopefully, get themselves back into the Super Bowl for the first time in forever. So I'm excited about that, but we put this number out there, 716-288-5246. That number is going to exist until I tell you it doesn't. And it is your opportunity at any point in your life, not just after a game, not just about the Bills, but if you've got something you want to talk about. And I'm really into pop culture things, and this does sound a little too similar to the whiner line that I used to hate when I worked at GR. But look, it's a limited sort of situation here. Options are limited when you're recording a podcast at home with your own equipment. So I set up an extra phone number just for this. Anything you would like to say, if you would like to be a guest, you would like to, whatever it is, leave me a voicemail. Leave us a voicemail. Leave Writer Radio a voicemail at 716-288-5246. Just in the limited time I put it out, a few people have made the thing ring. A couple, I think, checked to see if it was real, like if it was a prank. Somebody on Twitter is like, I'm not falling for your joke. I'm not walking into your trap. It's not a trap. I just think that I really want to talk about the game. And no offense, Nate, but the perspective of a 10-year-old is, while very interesting, not the same as the perspective of adults who've lived through all that we've lived through as fans of sports teams, specifically the Bills in Buffalo. So any adults that wanted to contribute, cool. Now, the nature of this is it's a podcast. So right now I'm saying this, and this will be at the beginning of the podcast after we're done recording it. So this is kind of like the live taped call-in show thing from Mr. Show, again, 30 years ago. But if you want to talk about anything, feel free. Use that number. Make it your friend. Leave a message. You got an idea for a show. You think there's something you want us to touch on. You want to use your name, go ahead. You don't want to use your name, that's fine. You want me to contact you? I might. I don't know. And I'm not going to use everything that's left on there because I'm sure there will be some trash. But it's a new tool that we're trying to implement as we attempt to improve and grow what we're doing here with the podcast. And that's whether it's with Nate or with Scott Wilson and Paul Peck as we're doing some UB stuff or whatever else is coming around the corner. And believe me, there are things coming around the corner. I thought it was a good idea to set up this phone number last time, 716-288-5246. Last podcast, Nate, you promised we'd be doing year-end awards. We're not doing those because this is not a scheduled podcast. This is an emergency. The Bills just beat the Ravens podcast. But on that one, also what we did was we watched the Bills-Broncos game, the condensed version, and talked about what was going on in the game while we were watching it again. We're going to do that again a little differently this time, though, in that last time we fell a little too much into like doing play-by-play of a game that had already happened, which was fun for us, but I don't know that that's exactly what we're going for. So I'm putting it on, and we're going to play it, and we're going to talk about the game. And I'm sure we'll reference some things we're seeing as we're rewatching it, but I'm going to press play on the 25 or 26-minute version of this game, which is available through the NFL Plus app which I've subscribed to the last couple of years because it just gives you unlimited replayability of all the games, plus the All-22. It's all there. I rarely use the All-22, but having every game available is awesome during the season, whether it's for the Bills or watching their next opponent, scouting as a fan, whatever it is that we do, all that stuff. It's a good value, and the condensed version pops up right away. So I'm going to hit play on that. Before I hit play on that, Nate, I just want your initial, your opening statement on what we witnessed today and how you're feeling. Just, give me 30 seconds of whatever, and then I'm going to hit play, and then we'll talk through the game.
Okay, well, in the first half, Ravens couldn't get anything going, and we were just destroying them. Second half, we come out, get stopped, they get the ball, and then they start coming back, getting a chance, but in this game, Mark Andrews, their star tight end, wasn't able to catch the ball. Had 2 or 3 drops, a fumble, first fumble since 2019. And then they had the late touchdown to Isaiah Likely, and then once again drop pass by Mark Andrews. So, I don't know, felt good about it since we won, but then also we were the home team, and if you're the home team in a playoff game, 2 seed, when might be currently the best fan base in the league, in the NFL, you should win by more than 2 points. I'm still happy with the results.
Wow, negative Nancy over here. Negative Nathan. I don't want to make it at all about mistakes made by the Ravens, aside from when I want to jump back into the things I was screaming while watching the game, while thinking about Lamar legitimately being in the conversation for MVP when Josh Allen exists on this earth. I know it's a regular season award, but Josh Allen, the thing I want to talk about with the Bills is Josh Allen and the team in general remaining cool and calm, and it was a mistake-free game. Nothing went wrong. A penalty here, a penalty there. You miss a tackle a little bit, but nothing that's going to kill you. The Bills were mistake-free. Josh Allen was perfect. Wasn't as explosive as we see him at times. But today it was kind of a microcosm of this season, the way people talk about this season and this being the best version of Allen. I think we saw a microcosm of that today because of how calm he was. He wasn't out there looking for the big glorious play. He was out there looking for what was going to beat this team and never once looked remotely frazzled, confused, scared, intimidated, or, he was respectful of the Ravens, but that's about as far as I will go with it. He leads a team that believes in itself, and I think that was completely in evidence today. And I think that's what they're taking into Kansas City next week. I'm going to hit play on the thing, and we're going to go from here. It's right at the opening kickoff. And, like you said, that the Bills did own the first half. They led 21-7 at the half. But this game started a lot like the Denver game last week.
Right.
Even right down to after the first 2 plays, it was 3rd and 8. And as a fan, I'm like, you get a stop here, and you go score, and you just put your foot on their throat immediately. Both resulted in a first down pickup, a play down the field, and then a touchdown on the first drive. The Bills trailed 7-0 in this playoff game, just like they did last week. But that's the beauty of experience and confidence and all that. They knew they were getting the ball in the second half. Ravens got it in the first. And they also, okay, it's your first drive. This is going to be a long game. It was probably about, 4 minutes into the game when they scored their first touchdown. It was 7-0. Not dissimilar to last week against Denver, and they ended up winning that one in a blowout. So right. That's the thing that I walk away with is the Bills played essentially mistake-free football today and had to hold on because they're playing another good team. But a 2-point win is a win. We don't talk about the tight, good, they only lost Super Bowl 25 by 1. That's like a win. No, that's a loss by 1. Right. And you think about the things you could have done to make it different. And the Ravens should be thinking about the things they could have done to make it different. But the Bills should not be thinking about anything except for the fact that this worked. And they're going to take this same mentality into the game against Kansas City. So we're still watching. We're now, 3 minutes in, and the Ravens are down to the 20-yard line. This is where they wind up with a touchdown to Bateman. Does that sound right? And there it is. There's the touchdown you're talking about. Yeah, you're right. Wide open. What happened on that play? I don't know. I see Terrell Bernard in coverage. I see Damar Hamlin seemingly late to coverage. I'm not going to pretend to know what the defensive scheme calls for there, but I do know that a receiver wide open in the middle of the end zone is not the ideal thing to have happen in a playoff game.
Right. Ravens' first drive ended up with 7 points. Good first drive. We were able to stop Derrick Henry on his first 2 runs. Then he was wide open, actually, and he dropped it. Bad ball, underthrew him, incomplete. And then Isaiah Likely had some kind of 40-yard pass. So they were doing good, and then they scored the touchdown. So they were doing good their first offensive drive, and so were we on defense. I mean, we did give up a touchdown, but then we come back out and score a touchdown. There was just that play.
And and again, to parallel that, the drive I talked about from last week, from Denver, and then the first drive from Baltimore today, the Bills get into a 3rd and 8 really early, and then a nice deep ball finding a spot in the zone to hit Khalil Shakir. Honestly, on replay, it looks like that could have just been a house call. There was nothing beyond that. Allen lobbed it over the top to get it to him. But, it worked out just fine, but that could have been an even bigger play. But, yeah, you're right. The Bills come down, and it's 7-0. Okay, our turn. 7-7. And I don't remember. This is Josh's first rushing touchdown, I think, comes on this drive, right?
I think Ray.
Oh, no, Ray Davis. Ray Davis did score the first touchdown. All right, well, you know what? Let's hang out and watch, and we'll find out.
Right.
Yeah, I think you're right, though. I think it's Davis. All right, 4th and 2.
4th and 2.
At the 27 is an Allen run that goes for about 7 or 8 and picks up the first down. All right, brings up 1st and goal at about the 19. James Cook turns the corner, gets his hair pulled again, by the way, and gets down near the 10-yard line and about 2 yards short of a first down. 2nd and 2 at the 12 is a give to Cook, who gets down to the 5. Cook down to the 1.
And I remember this right when they got down to the
give to Ray Davis, isn't it?
Don't remember who it was. Might have been. It was either Jim Nantz, Tony Romo. One of them. Jim Nantz or Tony Romo said, "Okay, well, it's a touchdown. If the Bills get down to the 1-yard line, it's a touchdown because they'll always have
with multiple tries." It wasn't. I don't remember. Yeah, it was Romo that was talking about it, and it wasn't like if it's 4th and 1, they're getting it. It was you get down to 2nd and goal at the 1, they're scoring.
Right.
And they do. And that proved to be correct all day. All right, so that worked. 7-7, followed by a kickoff. And that was, by the way, that's the end of the Bills trailing in this game. They would not trail again.
Right. The only reason they did trail is because they didn't have the ball first.
Which is fine, because they get it the second time. So that worked out. This ended up obviously being is this a punt or the first turnover on this drive? Because, I mean, that is going to be the national story is going to be what you were talking about. Oh, this is the pass to Rapp. Yep, there it goes.
Yep.
Sail it deep directly to Taylor Rapp.
That's a
arm punt.
Terrible throw. You shouldn't throw that ball. You see a safety out in front. Everyone in the league is talking about how he's an MVP caliber player. And then he'll go out and, you're away, you're in the snow, but if you, I'm not saying that he's not good, but if he was better, then he wouldn't throw.
Well, I'll say, let me interrupt you, Nate, because there was a play that was pretty similar late in the game. Bills are going right to left, so it's 4th quarter, where Josh Allen threw a similar pass, but his was in an area where maybe his guy can get to it, and that's the only guy who could possibly get to it. Lamar just threw that up for grabs because Matt Milano got almost kind of sort of in his face, and he didn't have anywhere to go with it, so he lobbed it up to no one, but no one turned out to be Taylor Rapp. So that was, again, I know who my preference is for MVP, but I will say, maybe I'll save it for when we watch Lamar turn the ball over the second time, or maybe I'll just say it right now. I was just kind of yelling, and it's just, so I've got 3 kids. The oldest doesn't care about the Bills. The youngest pretends to care about the Bills, but would rather be in the other room playing Fortnite with his friends. So it's my wife and Nate here that are watching every play of the game. I guess I would say I'm viewed a little bit as a contrarian, but it's not intentionally. I'm not trying to be a jerk. It's just that the more I hear people say the same thing, the more my brain just like picks holes in it. And as I spent the last week, 2 weeks really, hearing about Lamar suddenly being the presumptive MVP, and hearing the reasons why. It's 2 weeks of that, followed by a week of the Bills are favorites. No, the Ravens are favorites. And the Ravens are probably the best team left in the playoffs and blah, blah. And all of it, the more I hear it, it's not, yes, there is an inherent Bills bias, but it's not that I'm thinking pro-Bills. It's just whatever I hear, I think is wrong. If everyone was saying the Bills are going to win everything, I'd figure out why they're not going to. That's just kind of how my brain works. I feel like most people, once there's like a collective answer to a question, that's when I want to kind of review it and maybe change the answer to that question. And as I watched this week turn into, 3 out of every 4 analysts, let's say, are picking the Ravens, and Vegas is giving this to the Ravens. I just start thinking, well, none of this makes sense. And, there's some pushback. You heard some people talking about, the difference between this and their matchup in week 4 of the season, all the players that were missing, and what a different team the Bills are. And a lot of it was about the defense, but then you look at the offense too. And, Shakir got knocked out of that game early, and Shakir was the only returning receiver on this team from last year. So now a month into the season, Josh Allen's throwing to no one he's ever played with before. And that's a thing. All the defensive injuries have been talked about ad nauseum, so I don't need to do that. But there are just a lot of things there. Ray Davis was being utilized. Ty Johnson had not yet become a part of the offense. All right, I interrupt what I'm talking about right now to say that there is turnover number 2, and that's when I started freaking out about Lamar. So it's Lamar Jackson, bad snap, like kind of high snap and drops it. Yeah, bad snap, loops back, tries to run forward, ankle grab by DeMar Hamlin. Von Miller picks up the ball, runs back to the 5-yard line, something like that. This is where I started yelling mean things at Lamar Jackson and his supporters, but only to Nate and my wife, so it's not that bad. But I'll give you a little insight as to what it was. I think it was at this point that I said, I hope he does win MVP, because I want him to be there to accept it at the NFL honors ceremony 2 days before the Super Bowl, because he's available and Josh Allen isn't. And then I want everybody on that show to talk about how he had the most amazing season they've seen of a quarterback this year, and how he's the best player in the league, and how he's not playing anymore because he got knocked out 3 weeks earlier by Josh Allen and the Bills. What I've seen out of Allen this year is the MVPest thing I've ever seen from anybody that I've been rooting for. I shouldn't say anybody, because there have been other, like, oh my God type of candidates in this sport and others. But this dude takes a team on his back and is just unflinching is the word for the adaptation of his game this year. And part of me at this point now wants, who cares about the MVP? I want the MVP too. I want him to get it. I love the guy just like you do. But the Super Bowl's the thing, and I want them to get that more. And if they get that, it's all going to be credited to him. We'll spread it around, but it's going to go to him. He's going to be, in the minds of America, the player of the year in the league. And if Lamar has an MVP trophy, I think it's kind of funny. And I think it's kind of funny if he accepts it 2 days before Josh becomes, because Josh is going to win this thing. And I'm going to go back to something I heard. I'm sorry, Nate. I'll bring it back in a minute. Ryan Russillo's podcast. I love Ryan Russillo's podcast. And he does a thing every year where he compares NFL quarterbacks to NBA stars. He's a big NBA guy. And, the NBA's got a lot of just cool storylines. If you're not into it, I'm not in the loop on the NBA like I was even like 5 years ago. But there are always just storylines, and the players that are trying to get over the top, and this guy can't get out of the first round, and this guy can't win when he's the main guy, and this guy needs the right type of coach, and all that kind of stuff. And his comparison between Josh Allen and an NBA player was Luka Doncic. And the overall point, I think it was before this season, it might have been before last season, but it's stuck with me since. I just don't know how long it's been sticking around. The comparison or the similarity between those two players is that the second that one of them wins a championship, there will be a movement to go, oh, actually, you know what? I think that's the best guy in the league. Because you can't call Josh the best player in the league, even though you watch him and you see that he is, when Mahomes has 3 Super Bowls. And he's lost in the playoffs to Mahomes multiple times. And you can't call him the best in the league if Lamar wins his 3rd MVP. They were drafted the same year in the same round, and Lamar has done this. And neither has won the Super Bowl. And both have been to the AFC Championship game once. So that's a tie. Going into today, when it changed. But if he wins, then you can say it. Because I know what I see with my eyes, and I know, especially you guys, Nate, growing up, and I try to stress this to you all the time, and we may have already talked about this on the podcast, but all you know of the Buffalo Bills is Josh Allen as quarterback. And it's important that you understand that it's not always like this. The rest of your life will not feel this way as a fan of the Buffalo Bills. Do you get it? You can't compare him to Bruce Smith.
Right.
Unless you ask me about Bruce Smith, and that's not good enough. You can't compare him to Thurman, and you can't compare him to Jim Kelly. And you can't compare him to Jack Kemp, and you can't compare him to OJ, because this is all you got. You can compare him to literally no one at quarterback, right? Do you remember a quarterback? I mean, I have pictures of you wearing a Tyrod Taylor jersey.
Right.
But I don't think you remember that.
Peterman or something.
We did not buy a Peterman jersey. You had a Tyrod. We bought Zach an EJ Manuel. I bought Zach a real EJ Manuel jersey. That was stupid. But what are you supposed to do when a kid's born? Your first kid, he's a boy, and the Bills draft a quarterback in the first round, and then 6 months later there's a game. Am I not going to get the jersey? So I did that, and then you ended up wearing that for a while too, because hand-me-downs, little brother. But you've never seen, like, the 2 quarterbacks you've seen are Josh Allen and Mitch Trubisky, right?
Right.
Who else have you seen? Have you seen? Did you see Peterman? Do you remember Peterman?
No.
You remember EJ Manuel?
I just remember that he was bad. I
know you know of him because you know of things.
I've seen a few of his bad highlights or something, but I've never actually seen him play a full game or anything.
Who's a bad quarterback to you in the NFL?
Currently?
Yeah, just
not.
Oh, good. The Bills are playing against blank.
Jameis Winston.
All right. The Bills are playing against Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston is a former first overall pick who is incredible to watch. It's crazy. It's he's like the first version of Josh Allen that the Bills got, the crazy version where it's I don't know. He might throw a touchdown. It might be a pick. Winston had a season a couple of years ago where he threw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions, which is unprecedented in NFL history. That's the worst you can think of. That's a former number 1 pick. The point is, we, as Bills fans, watched nothingness from, I'm going to say Joe Ferguson, because that's when I became aware of the Bills and conscious of the Bills. That was the guy. Before that, it goes back to Jack Kemp and Darryl LaMonica in the mid-'60s. I start watching the Bills in the early 80s. It's Ferguson. Ferguson goes away. That's it. There's nothing there. They draft Jim Kelly. It's 3 years before he shows up. Meanwhile, Dan Marino's kicking butt. There's all kinds of stuff going on. And Kelly won't come to Buffalo. And then Kelly finally arrives. Then it's good for a while. And then it gets into the Collins and, oh, my God, Lossman and Edwards and Flutie and Johnson. That's out of order. And Fitz was kind of the best we had for, the duration of the drought. And Tyrod Taylor and Peterman you mentioned. And there's Thad Lewis games. There's Jeff Tools involved. There's a lot of garbage. You're not familiar with any of it. You're just, oh, yeah, the Bills, Josh Allen, yay. They look great in red, white, and blue. We got the right uniform since you've been alive, too. They went to these crap dark blue things for a while. You didn't have to deal with that. You don't know anything about that. So I don't remember what the question was, but, it's just a podcast, so it doesn't matter. The Bills now are up 21-10 with 14 minutes left in the third quarter. They're just getting underway. And, you pointed this out. This is where things kind of started to turn against the Bills, and it got a little dicey. They never trailed, so it's cool. But 21-10, I don't know if it was a 3-and-out or they got one first down. I know they had one first down on the first two drives of this half, and the Ravens scored on 2 or 3 consecutive drives here. So Ravens had the ball back. They're down 11. Still feel pretty good, but seriously, you only are a minute 15 into the second half, and we talk all the time about the Bills get the ball in the second half. This is awesome. A minute later, they don't have it. The Ravens do, and they're at the 40.
Going back to earlier, when Lamar early in the second quarter, when Lamar fumbled the ball and Von Miller picked it up. Might have been last season or 2 seasons ago. There was another play like that. Bad snap, rolled behind him. He picked it up and threw a pick. That seems like something that a quarterback who
is being compared to Josh Allen.
Right, who can't stay calm when crazy things are happening. Same with Tua. If he can't stay under the same thing, he'll get all crazy, which is why against us in week 2, he couldn't throw the ball good enough passes for them to score touchdowns.
Overall, what my version of what you're saying is, I don't trust Lamar as my quarterback, and I don't trust Tua as my quarterback, and I trust Josh inherently. When we're talking about the elite of the elite, who do you just trust? That's where Mahomes is number one, consensus number one. It's I just know that late in a game, I can give him the ball and I believe in him. Allen, to me, is right there with him. Obviously, I like him better, in part because I'm a fan, in part because I think physically he's just more interesting to watch. He's a specimen like we haven't ever seen. I haven't ever seen, I should say. You might have seen something else. Not you, Nate, because you've only seen Josh Allen, but other people might have seen something. Oh, yeah, I'd compare him to this. Compare him to Cam Newton. I don't think the combination of game smarts, what's the word? IQ, football IQ plus physical tools, running and throwing. There's nothing like it. And then add in that he's just cool and everybody likes him and he's a good-looking, charming, fun guy who always says the right thing. The most perfect character to ever step into our hometown. And it's awesome that you're experiencing this. You're born in 2016? 14. Drew's 16. All right. You're born in 2014, so you're 3.5 when they draft him or whatever. That's sick. That's just sick that's what you get. It's awesome. I'm glad you're watching and appreciating and constantly wearing Bills clothes. Works out well. So it's 21-13. The Bills get stuck again and end up punting. Rolls into the end zone, gives the Ravens the ball at the 20 with 5:20 left in the third quarter. And this is when they get all this run down the throat drive for a touchdown, right? Just nothing but runs. Henry, third down, 3rd and 1. Let me guess, Henry?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, there's Henry for
big game.
30 yards. Nice tiny little bump there by, I think, Cole Bishop that prevents a touchdown. No, it's not Bishop.
No, DeMar.
Oh, DeMar Hamlin. Good job. Second big play by DeMar, right?
Yep.
It's not often we sit and watch these games and, think back to multiple crazy little plays that were made by DeMar that are huge. DeMar Hamlin is the one who had the shoestring tackle of Lamar when he dropped the ball. DeMar on Lamar crying, by the way. And then he makes that play. There's DeMar making another tackle. That one wasn't anything, but he's arguing with Justice Hill a little bit. But yeah, this drive was the scariest thing to happen during the game. There was enough time. it's only an 8-point lead, and there's enough time for these guys to just play this way.
Because
if you're going to put the ball in Lamar's hands, you're not going to beat the Bills. You're not going to beat the Bills in a playoff game in January in Orchard Park. But if Derrick Henry is going to be able to do this and Justice Hill is going to be able to supplement it, that could be a problem for the Bills. Say what you're going to say, Nate. Sorry.
That's one of the reasons why they've been winning all season. They can hand it off to Derrick Henry, who, yes, he is fast. Justice Hill, I think, is probably faster than him. But Derrick Henry is just someone that's humongous and will plow through you and throw you to the ground with one hand while someone's diving at his feet or something.
Derrick Henry is a very similar player to Josh Allen, honestly. He is a massive dude with deceptively good speed who can run you over but also make you miss and also run past you. And is also super intelligent about the way he plays the game. So I think that's a pretty decent comparison there, too. I don't feel that way about Lamar. I do feel that way about Henry. All right, so the Bills have the ball back now. Forgot. Henry scored, and then 2-point conversion failed, which is nice. So it's 21-19 at this point as we're in the final minute of the third quarter. The Bills have it right now, 2nd and 11. Let's see how this one goes. There's a pass to Shakir, who can't quite get there, winds up about 2 yards short of the first down. And then they let this run down.
So you have Derrick Henry, who obviously is really good. Then you also have Justice Hill, who is small guy, but fast.
I think what you're about to try to say is how it's nice to have a combination. Like the thunder and lightning is the term that gets used a lot, where it's like boom, flash, boom, flash. Big guy, fast guy. Big guy, fast guy. Is that what you're trying to get at?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So you have both of those. Then at any time, you can also just run it with Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
I think he's probably faster than Allen, even though Allen is also still really fast.
You and your generation are so into arguing and comparing who's faster, who's stronger, who's bigger, who's taller, who's this, who's that. Does it matter at all if Lamar Jackson is faster than Josh Allen? In what world does that matter? Allen has to be faster than whoever's trying to tackle him, and so does Jackson. So it doesn't.
But they're never going to be.
We talked about this. We talked about this coming home from your baseball practice yesterday.
We did.
Yes, you said I think so and so is faster than me, and I think, or maybe Drew did it, but we've had this conversation where you're like, I think he's faster than me. I said, well, that's great. He's on your team. You're super fast. Who cares if he's faster than you? And it's kind of the same thing where it's like, yeah, Jackson's fast and Allen's fast, but they're never. Is there going to be anything that comes down to like, all right, who's going to win this race between Allen and Jackson? It doesn't matter, right?
No.
I'm not trying to like be a jerk, dude.
I know.
Just I'm saying they're both fast. It's fine. We don't have to talk about it. All right, we do have to talk about this. I'm actually going to pause our little broadcast here because on some level, the biggest play of the game just happened here. All right, I just paused the replay of our game because we've got the what I'll call the biggest play of the game. I know a lot of things happen at the end, the drop in the end zone by Andrews. To me, the play of the game, the Bills lead 24-19, 9:30 to go. All right, as we're watching, this is what I would consider the biggest play of the game. I know a bunch of stuff happened, super late. It's a 2-point win, so anything really could be called the play of the game. Don't snort in my microphone. Lamar Jackson, back to pass, throws over the middle. Mark Andrews catches it, kind of in traffic, not really. Terrell Bernard punches out the ball in the open field, covers it himself. Yeah, it's a right-handed punch out of Mark Andrews' left arm, and then just covers it, and then there are 4 or 5 Bills teammates there to surround him. That's the play right there. I'm going to pause this now because there's more to talk about, but I want to talk about this play a little bit more. First of all, Bernard, one of the players missing from the Week 3 game, right? One of the players missing from the Week 4 game, right?
Yep.
I just want to throw this out there. I just said Week 3 game, and Nate, who's been doing podcasting for 3 weeks, held up his hand saying 4. Didn't correct me on mic, just held up his fingers saying 4. And I was already thinking, oops, I think it's 4. And I looked at him, and he gave me that cue. And I think that's awesome. So shout out to you, Nate. That was really cool. I don't know if I'll keep this in the podcast, but I think that was awesome that you just did that. That's one of the guys that was missing, right?
Yep, it was him, Matt Milano, Taron Johnson were the 3 big players on defense that were missing.
Taron Johnson made a couple plays, got a little banged up. Hope he's good for next week against Kansas City. Milano played his best game of the year today. I thought he was the most noticeable that he's been since returning. It felt like every time that I went, ooh, I saw 58 afterward, and that's pretty cool.
Yep.
I don't like how much Mom likes him, because I think Mom thinks he's very good looking. I don't know. I don't feel great about that part, but we celebrated anyway. And what was our dessert today at dinner?
We had Milano cookies.
I had to go to the store and buy Milano cookies. Pepperidge Farms, I think. I don't know. Milano cookies. It's a style of cookie. They're delicious. We started buying them. They've been winning. We have to keep buying them. But I don't like how good looking Matt Milano is to my wife. I'll just throw that out there. No, the point was Terrell Bernard made the play of the game. And guess what? He's one of the people who wasn't in the game the last time they played, because this wasn't the same team in week 4. And all the talk, don't snort into my microphone. Why do you keep doing it? You can move the mic. You have an arm, right? How's your arm work? Look at that. Look at that. Go ahead. Snort right now. Snort as loud as you can for everyone to hear. Go. Nobody heard it. No one heard it but me. And that's because I have one earphone off. If I didn't have this off, I wouldn't have heard it at all either. Don't snort into my microphone's name.
Okay.
All right. Good play by Bernard. Bills have the ball at this point, leading by 5. Little under 8 minutes to go. Hey, when was that really, really stupid Deion Dawkins penalty?
That was like really early in the game, I feel like.
It's going to get lost in all of this because we're watching as it zips through. Mm-hmm. He got a holding call for literally doing nothing at all. It was the least.
I remember.
Yeah.
I think. It was early in the game, right before we tackled Lamar out of bounds, but since we were already grabbing
started tackling
him
him out, and then somebody got shoved down.
Yeah, I think it was the play before it was holding.
I do agree. There was a defensive penalty right after the one on Dawkins, but the Dawkins one would have been a big gain and a first down, and so it wasn't a fair trade.
Right.
I don't remember exactly what it was. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All right. The Bills at this point, 4:28 left, first and goal at the 10. Cook to the 8. Allen runs right to the 2. Oh, this play sucks.
This is where they try to drop the middle and he gets stopped.
Right. And he absolutely looked like he thought of pitching the ball to James Cook, which we did see in a playoff game. Was that the Houston playoff loss? Do you remember that? You were so young. You were so young. That was the first Allen playoff game. I think it was that game. But there was a game where he just, did Josh Allen lose his mind? And it looked like that. And a lot of us kind of freaked out, I'm sure. But he didn't pitch it, and it's fine. And then they kicked the field goal. Tyler Bass, great job today. You did all the stuff. So the Bills kick off, leading by 8. With 3.5 minutes to go.
I remember from the Houston playoff game when LaShawn McCoy threw a touchdown to Josh Allen.
It was John Brown that threw it, but yes, Josh Allen caught the ball. Yep.
Oh,
wide receiver John Brown wearing I think 15 at the time.
Okay, he threw it. He threw it to Josh Allen on a wheel route, and he caught it while flipping over the defender. He caught it and
then flipped over the defender, and it was awesome.
Right.
And then he did the crazy celebration. That's a meme. Or not meme. What's the word I'm looking for? GIF. What do you say, GIF or GIF?
I say GIF.
You do, because you're young and cool, right? All right, so we're going to relive the final drive. Bills kickoff. Ravens return the ball, take it out to about the 34-yard line, and we'll start there with 3:23 left. Bills lead by 8. There is a penalty. It's a hold against the Ravens that brings it back. I know you all saw the game. I did too. They're starting at their 12. Lamar back to pass, deep left, sails over likely Cole Bishop in coverage along with whoever the corner was.
Taron Johnson. That's
when Taron Johnson got hurt. That's right. All right, 2nd and 10. Lamar rolls right. He's going to run. Gets very close to the first down. I think he's a little short.
3rd and 2.
3rd and 2. 3:10 left. Lamar back to pass. Dumps it right over the middle to Hill, who gets the first down by a foot and a half. Lamar back to pass on 1st and 10. Rolls a little. Gets it to Bateman.
Bateman gets hurt.
And Bateman gets hurt. 2nd and 7. 2:13 to go. Lamar rolls right. Chased.
Jumped.
Oh, and this is the bad one. He finds the guy I never heard of.
Tylan Wallace.
Was that who it is?
Yep.
Tylan Wallace for a gain of, I don't know, $1 million? There you go. First down, so that's 10. There's 20, 32-yard gain or so leading into 2-minute warning. We're back from the 2-minute warning already. We're around midfield. Bills 47. Dump off to Hill. Out of bounds for a gain of 5-ish. It was 4. 2nd and 6. Lamar back to pass again. Lobs it to Andrews, who gets to the 24 or 23, something like that. It'll be 1st and 10. 1:44 to go. Lamar has all day. Who's 71 for the Bills? Big fat 71 chasing. And then a sliding catch in the front of the end zone by Isaiah Likely, who acts as if the Ravens are going to play in the championship game, but they're not. And here comes the 2-point conversion attempt. Rolls right. Oh, no, Mark Andrews wide open and trips and falls and loses the ball. And I'm not 100% sure that he would have gotten the 2-point conversion even had he held on to it because of where he was. Onside kick to the Bills, recovered by Rasul Douglas. Then the Bills would hand the ball off one time. Was it Davis? Davis.
No, Ty Johnson. No, it was
Is it
Ty
Johnson?
Johnson. Yep, and then Ty Johnson got a big gain.
Got a first down, which allows the Bills to run out the clock. And the game's over. So that's it. All right, your final thoughts on the game before we go to the phones. You've never gone to the phones, Nate.
No.
This will be fun. I've gone to a lot of phones, but we're going to go to the phones.
Good game by both teams. We did allow them to score and make it a close game at the end. But going to Kansas City for the AFC Championship game, which is once again taking on the Chiefs in the playoffs, because last time they met each other in the championship game, 5 years ago, maybe it was.
Yep.
They lost 38-24. And the next season was the craziest
That was a bad one.
game I've ever seen. That's the 13 seconds game when Gabe Davis had 4 touchdowns and 200 yards. They were able to get in field goal range with 2 timeouts with 13 seconds left.
Yeah, I remember. I watched that.
Yeah. And then
You were 5. You were 5.
I remember watching it.
I know.
too.
I remember you watching it also, but you were 5.
Oh.
Think about that. Think about that. Your little brother, Drew, who you think is stupid because he's so young, is 8. You were 5. You were 3 years stupider than Drew. That's crazy.
Then the next season, was that when we lost the Bengals.
Yeah, that was the DeMar thing. That was a good year, too, till that.
Right. And then there was last year. Meeting again. This time it's in Buffalo. And the Bills end up losing on another wide right kick, which sent the Chiefs to the AFC Championship, which they won and then won the Super Bowl.
I will say last year, and I think a lot of people feel this way, I didn't think the Bills were going to win in overtime. Like, going to overtime with the Chiefs felt like a doomed mission from the start. So I don't harbor the anger toward Tyler Bass that a lot of people do, because it's like, here we go. It's one of those things. And, the Chiefs are the same thing again. The Chiefs are winning constantly, and I'm not positive how it happens. And now it's a very extreme version of it that reminds me of many of the Patriot years, where they had a great quarterback and not much around him, and not even a spectacular quarterback in the way that Josh Allen is. Just a guy who was smart and did it right in Brady and in Mahomes, where, yes, he does spectacular things. I'm not trying to underplay anything that he's accomplished by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not the same. I watch Josh Allen. It's like watching an actual tiger play a sport. Like,
Right.
look at that, the leap. Look at the power. Look at the strength. Look at the ferocity. Tom Brady looked like a smart guy dissecting things, and Mahomes does too, with a little bit of goofier athleticism to him. Brady was a pocket guy who knew how to maneuver in the pocket to create space for himself. Mahomes can get out, and he can run. And it's almost like I watch Josh Allen run like he's a bull, and I watch Mahomes run like he's skipping through a meadow. Like it's just this cutesy little, it's great. It works for him, and no-look passes, and he's a point guard, and I get all that. He's incredible. But Josh is right in the same category with him, just missing some hardware that guy has and that Lamar Jackson has. But Jackson is not in the same category. Josh is in the category with Brady and Mahomes for how they play mentally. And then all of his physical attributes are a bonus on top of that possibly make all the other stuff work, but it's a full package with him, and I'm just so excited to see what's going to happen next. We're going to do the same thing again. We're going to play 2 Little League basketball games, one with your little brother, one of you and your older brother. I'm going to coach both of them, and then we're going to come back. Oh, and Drew's going to go to baseball practice. This is all going to happen on Sunday again. We'll have 2 basketball games, a baseball practice, and then a Bills playoff game at 6:30. So looking forward to it, and we will definitely talk to you about that either right afterward or before that.
Quickly. Commanders upsetting the Lions in the divisional round. I predicted the Commanders were going to win.
You did.
They did.
Yep. I think when you told me you thought they had a shot, I said...
No.
it was worse. I said, I think Detroit's going to win by 40 or about 40 or something like that. I get pretty opinionated sometimes, buddy. Yeah. Sorry.
And then Eagles ended up winning also, 28-22. Saquon Barkley, 205 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Point the mic at your mouth. You're good at this. Now you're like, it's like midnight, so you're kind of falling asleep. I get it.
205 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then they ended up winning, which sent them to the NFC Championship game. And it's kind of crazy to think that those 2 teams are playing against each other, because first time they played against each other, I think the Eagles won by like a good 10 points or something. Last time they played each other, I think it was 36-33, really close game.
I have no idea, but I believe you.
Okay. If the Eagles won that game, they won the division. They would have won the division. They ended up winning the division, but not from that game because the Commanders ended up winning. It's just going to be a really cool game to watch the Commanders with a rookie quarterback playing against Saquon Barkley, veteran running back.
When I look at the 4 teams left, I think the consensus in America... Well, no, I wouldn't say that, because the Bills kind of had a bad vibe going because Diggs left. Because Hyde left, because Poyer left. What are we talking about? Because Trey White left? I saw Trey White tonight once.
Yeah.
Committing a pass interference penalty on
Keon Coleman.
So I love Trey White. It's not a knock on him, but the overall consensus opinion of the Bills, them being it's going to be a down year, that frustrates me. Nonetheless, when I looked at it, if you asked me who are the final 4 teams, I would have said Bills and the Chiefs. I would have had the Ravens third, and then in the NFC, it would have been Philly plus either Detroit or San Francisco, and it's Washington. So there's one surprise team in the final 4. But we know, the way we feel about these teams going in, that's about right. I mean, it makes sense in the AFC. It's the 1 and the 2, and then you got the 2 and the 6. I would have thought the 1 might have been there, and a team that didn't even make the playoffs might have been there. But this is what happens when you get a really good quarterback right away. Daniels looks the part of somebody who's going to get into the conversation with the guys that we're talking about regularly. Daniels might get there, and I think Mahomes is there, and Allen is there, And I kind of don't want to hear about Lamar being there for a while.
Right.
I'm interested in Burrow. I try to like Herbert. It's kind of tough. There's kind of a lot of the Lamar stuff going on there. He seems cool. He seems fun. I like him, kind of. And I'm there. And, we'll see what happens with Caleb Williams. I don't know much about that. I'm a little interested in Drake May. I don't like the part where he's in the division, but I'm thinking about him. But when it comes to the quarterbacks in the NFL, man, it's really heavily in the AFC right now to me. Because I don't put Hurts there. I think he's very capable but it's not the same conversation. And then who else in the NFC am I thinking about? Who am I forgetting, Nate, that belongs in a conversation with the guys I just mentioned? Because I think Josh is right with Mahomes. Burrow, Lamar, very different. Herbert, Trevor Lawrence doesn't count.
No.
Nix is not there yet. I'd be surprised if he gets there.
NFC, Dak Prescott. I don't think he's
middle of the road. Dak is a middle of the road quarterback. I like him. I voted for him for the Heisman back when that was something I was able to do. So I've always liked him, but I just don't think he's in that conversation. Anybody else? Am I forgetting somebody? I don't think I am.
Once again, middle of the pack, Baker Mayfield. He's
fun. I'm rooting for him.
Right.
Rooting for him, but he's not with these guys. Although he was drafted with these guys. Darnold, my God, what happened to that dude? What a roller coaster. That's a roller coaster. People talk about roller coaster careers and things or seasons. That is a roller coaster. Up, 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 up. Down, done.
Right.
Gross. All right. We're trying something new here, Nate.
Okay.
Hey, Brad, this is Ben from Scotia, and I wear the number 10. And I wear the number 10 for Khalil Shakir because his hips don't lie. And people have always said to me, whether at school or around the office, they've always said to me, Ben, you know what we like about you? It's your hips. They don't lie. My hips don't lie, and neither does his. Go Bills.
All right, Nate. What do you think about Khalil Shakir as a player?
He's obviously good. He's a young, talented receiver who's playing with a great quarterback. Take Justin Jefferson. He's now maybe the best receiver in the league, or was going into the season. Was talked about as the best receiver in the league. This year he had Sam Darnold. When he got drafted, he had Kirk Cousins. For a receiver that wants to turn out good and be talked about, starts with having a good quarterback to throw you a good ball. That's what Josh Allen does. Shakir can catch the ball. If Allen gives him a good pass, which he almost always does, and Shakir will almost always catch it. And if he always catches it, then that makes him one of the best players because he'll catch the ball. And his run after the catch, yards after the catch, he'll do that. He was second in the league this year behind Jamar Chase, who won the Triple Crown. His quarterback was Joe Burrow, another young, talented player. And those two have been together since college when they both went to LSU.
All right, here comes another one.
Hey guys, it's Molly from Buffalo. Super happy about the win. I think they were tougher competition than the Chiefs, but we're playing with house money now, so from here on out, we've had a great season. Go Bills.
Playing with house money. You know what that means at all?
No.
It means you're at a casino. You brought $10 to bet at the casino.
Okay.
Your $10, because you bet well, turned into $100. You leave the table with $100. You started with 10. How much house money do you have?
$100?
90. You started. You used your 10.
You use your 10.
The house is the place you're playing.
So you got $90.
$90. It's house money. I got $90 they gave me. I'm going to bet it with them, see what happens. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what we're talking about here. It's I don't know. We maybe aren't supposed to be here. I think they are. I think the Bills are supposed to be here. But that's the concept of house money. That makes sense, right?
Yep.
All right, here we go. Another voicemail. This one's a minute long.
Okay.
107.
Big Nate and Rider Radio. Hey, this is Larry Ben. I'm a big-time follower of Rider Radio, have been forever. I can remember calling when I thought the Gruden brothers should be the coach, but I ate my words on that. But tonight was awesome. And my daughter Paige and I, who's 15, so she's around your age, Nate, and, you guys haven't seen what your dad and I have. I'm 49, and we've seen a lot. And I'll tell you what, this year's different. And I can't wait to hear your take and all your, post game and what you have to say, because you have done an awesome job on all the podcasts you've done. And I did send this to your dad, but I want to hear what your fighter pilot name would be, because we know it can't be Woody, because that's the pilot's name that you met. But we want to know what your fighter pilot's name would be. So, all right, man. Go Bills!
All right, let's start with that. Your fighter pilot name, because then I'll let you think a little bit as I talk. But you were 4 years ago, you were Maverick for Halloween.
Yep.
So, and before that, you were very into flying and pilot stuff. And then this is all for you to think. You better be thinking. All right. I think your second, maybe your third, I think it was your second birthday party was pilot themed because you were so into airplanes. And then we went and did the thing with the A-10 Warthog, and that was awesome. And I think I've given you enough time to decide what your fighter pilot name would be.
I mean, I can't really think of anything right now, but I would say Nate Dog, because when I was Maverick for Halloween, on the helmet, it has it's like a triangle shape, no, upside down V shaped almost, 4 letters, and then it goes down the other way, spelling out in Top Gun or Maverick or whatever, it spells out Maverick, but I had it spelled out Nate Dog. So that's just what I would do, because I can't think of anything else right now.
This would be a great time for me to admit on the podcast that did I ever tell you the story about when we chose your name?
I don't know.
Your name, Nathan, was Mom's idea.
Okay.
I didn't love it.
Okay.
I have come to love it. I think Nathan is a great name. I think Nate's a great name. But at the time, I don't know. We introduced it to our lives.
Yeah.
We could have a kid named anything we wanted.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know about Nathan. I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of your name? Do you like your name?
Yeah.
Do you like the whole thing? Do you just like Nate?
I like Nate.
Do you like Nathan also?
Kind of.
You like that it exists, though? Like,
yeah.
You grow up, you're like, my name is Nathan Ryder, but call me Nate. You can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. I didn't love it, but I said, all right. We already had one. Zach is our first kid, Zachary, shortened to Zach. And we agreed on that one. We both had another name in mind. Zach was the second choice. The one day I was like, I think I think I want to switch to Zach. And she's like, me too. And we did that, and we agreed. Second kid, she's like, what about Nathan? I'm like, no, the name sucks. And then eventually I said, here's the deal. I'm in as long as I and all of my friends can call him Nate Dog.
Okay.
And she's like, yeah, I don't care. I don't care, idiot. Whatever you want. Yeah, fine. If I get my choice, yeah, you can call him Nate Dog if you want. I'm so happy that 11 years later, really,
Yep.
from then, you like Nate Dog.
Yeah.
So I'm in. So good job.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, that's it. The Bills win. They'll face the Chiefs, AFC Championship game. Thanks to my boy Nate. Thanks to the people who called in using the new phone number, 288-5246. That's a 716 area code, damn it, because we're in Buffalo. 716-288-5246. You don't need a prompt from me other than this to leave a message there, and it might wind up on the podcast. Thanks to those of you who called in. Want to start using this thing? Let's do it. Thanks to Nate. Thanks to you for listening. Please share, like, etc. All the things you're supposed to do. What's the other one, Nate? Like and subscribe, they usually say. I haven't gotten there yet. We are going to put this on YouTube soon, the whole series of these podcasts. And there's a lot to come. But Nate and I will be back. Bare minimum, Nate and I will be back soon. And the Bills will play again Sunday at 6:30. So thanks for listening. Thanks for calling. Amazing. And go Bills.